we're going to shine a spotlight on a Nigerian company that spent the last decade showing how data and technology can transform modern marketing. Intense Group, which is a digital and creative agency, is marking its 10th anniversary, has grown from a small startup into a 60-person force. As the company celebrates this milestone, we explore the principles and values that have shaped its team, its clients, and its impact on the wider creative community. Intense Group is celebrating, of course, 10 years of intensity, a decade of redefining what a homegrown marketing agency can achieve. Arise Exchange anchor Bosun Omofaye sat down with the CEO of Intense, who is Leye Makanjuola, for more on the 10th anniversary.
Thank you so much. 10 years is definitely no mean feat. It started really with nothing, just ideas and, a laptop and a phone. Yes, really with nothing. And anytime I tell people this, they just find it hard to believe because they look at where we are now. But, where we're coming from, it started with nothing. But you know how tough Nigeria is. It's really about having intensity, which is a lot of great resilience, discipline, seeing things through. But of course, data is what really, changed the game for us. As a marketing agency, we found very quickly that what businesses really want is to be able to increase their bottom line, to be able to grow their revenue. And we found out that tracking data was able to help us connect our activities, our marketing activities, to what really works so that we can double down on that and then remove what doesn't work. It's not been an easy journey, of course. There's been mistakes, there's been failures, but you see, with resilience and a lot of intensity, anybody can really make it out in this country.
Very interesting. Tell me about what you call the intense, you can refer to as intense philosophy, what it means for business performance and how that's been able to shape what you call your competitive edge in an industry that is attracting a whole lot of folks coming in on a daily basis.
Yes, the Intense philosophy. People always ask me, why is your company called Intense? I'll say it was like a vision. It just popped into my head in the middle of the night. But it's really a way of life. The name Intense, as it implies, it just sounds like something very, very, it's not
something deliberate.
Exactly, and it's not
powerful.
It's not at the middle of any scale. It's usually at the end of a scale, which means going the hardest, going the farthest. So over time we've been able to create this philosophy which really spans around teamwork, innovation, being growth oriented, excellence, responsibility, and of course, all our employees have the owner mindset, which really ensures that they're taking care of our clients just like they're their own.
So let's begin to drill down a bit into what you do. And MarTech globally is $1 trillion industry. There's so much money there in this particular industry. How does Africa play in that landscape? Do you think we're beginning to scratch the surface, or we're beginning to make a dent, as it were, with what Intense bring to the market?
It's still very early days. Africa is a very huge continent. The majority of our population are young people. If you see 10 years ago or 20 years ago, we weren't very influential on the global scale. But now Nigerians, South Africans, Kenyans, Ghanaians, we influence culture, fashion, entertainment, sports. Everybody looks up to us. But now with marketing technology, we have the opportunity to take that way further. Thankfully, we already have a few businesses that are unicorns and that are billion-dollar companies. But what we need to realize is that because consumer behavior has changed so much, the platforms that we use to consume information now are mostly digital. The traditional platforms are beginning to die down a bit. So it's very important that the youth population of Africa understand that marketing and technology must come together for them to be able to drive their ideas, for them to be able to create value, and for them to be able to generate revenue. And it's as simple as having a phone, having internet, being able to leverage existing technology or creating new technology and being able to generate demand for whatever goods, products, services, or ideas that we do have. So there's a big opportunity for African youth there. And I feel like Intense is a prime example of how that can be done. And we're happy to continue to share this philosophy and how we work with all Africans.
Interesting. But when you look at marketing in Africa, it's oftentimes about focusing on visibility. But you measure a growth. Your focus was on measurable growth. So I'm beginning to think, what does that growth mean in your own world, in your own philosophy? Is it just about the money? Is it the numbers? Is it the subscribers? Whatever it is.
Yeah, growth is, as the name implies, we're a growth, focused agency. We call it growth marketing. Visibility is very important. Don't get me wrong. It's just about ensuring that you're not just focused on activity or noise or awareness. It's important that you are connecting your marketing activities to revenue generation. So every dollar, every naira must have a job, right? So, there's the argument about brand versus performance. There's no better one. It's important that, the brand is known, is seen, and is trusted. But you see, those budgets must be connected to performance. And what growth really means is helping a business generate revenue through, bringing in new customers, retaining existing customers, upselling existing customers, and extending customer lifetime value. So you need to understand, how are we spending the marketing budget, and what is the job of each of, the channels and the budgets that are being, dedicated to marketing.
Interesting. But again, as you begin to see 10 years and beyond, you unveiling new products, as it were. Tell me about Growth Authority first, and then the Stardust Creator Network. How would that work? What's that in what they call the creators economy?
Definitely. I think, being 10 years in the game, we've realized that, knowledge is very important. It's important to educate the whole industry. It's not possible for us to work alone, as largely a B2B company. When we want to help companies, we need the stakeholders in those businesses to understand how things work. So Growth Authority is really a members-only community for mostly CMOs or marketing leaders to understand or to learn how to plan revenue, because the CMO role now is under so much pressure. CMOs are expected to deliver, revenue now. They're expected to account for the budgets that they're given. CEOs don't want to hear excuses anymore. They're like, if I'm giving you 10 billion naira and you can't really prove, what that 10 billion naira is doing, I might as well slash it to 500 million. And the truth is that CMOs have always driven growth, but they've just not been able to prove, where that growth is coming from. There's a saying that I know my marketing budget works, half of it works and half of it doesn't, but I don't know which one. So it's really about efficiency and reducing waste and being able to understand, where the revenue is going to come from, and trimming out the parts that, are redundant or are not generating revenue. So this community, of course, is also for peers to be able to come together, network, share ideas. We also will be providing, frameworks, playbooks, AI tools that will help CMOs and marketing leaders be able to really drive revenue and be able to prove revenue to the C-suites, which includes the CEO and the CFO.
What further capacity are you building in this industry?
So for us, right, we believe that every company has to be a technology company in 2025 and beyond. Of course, we have the Stardust Creator Network, right, which is really about the creator economy. And the reason why we're investing in this community or this platform is because advertising has changed, right? Advertising has been democratized, right? Long time ago, if you wanted to make a star, a studio or a producer will say, I'll make you a star.
Tell me.
Yeah, they say, I'll make you a star, and then you have a James Bond, a Batman, or a Superman. But now the stars are created from social media and all of these networks, right? And those are the people that are called creators and influencers. So rather than the big networks creating the stars and the people that will decide, who we look up to and the activities that we do and the things that we buy, you have little, sometimes with 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, or sometimes with 5 million or 10 million or 100 million followers. They are the ones that determine, how people behave and what is cool and what is not. Hence, the advertising industry needs to basically be built around these people, at least when it comes to influence. Word of mouth is the best form of advertising, right? So content creation and the creator economy, will be the determinants of, user behavior and how, things are bought and how, purchase decisions are made. So Intense is setting up Stardust Creator Network, first of all, to serve the creators, because being a creator is a business. But creators just think, I'm going to make my videos, but then who's going to handle your accounting? Who's going to handle your legal? Who's going to handle, your marketing? Who's going to negotiate with you on behalf of the brands? So we're creating this community for the creators to come in. We'll handle all of that for them. And on the brand side, the brands have been spending a lot of money on influencers, but they're not really looking at the ROI. And that's where, the growth comes in. Without technology, we're able to see how has an influencer or a creator performed, how many people have seen the content, how many people have converted or bought something because they posted, what is the sentiment of the comments, that people are saying. Are they just saying, oh, I like your dress, or, I really like this product that you have, promoted. So it's really about the data, and of course, we're able to handle all other things as well for the brand, including legal, contracts, user rights. So it's really an infrastructure for the creator economy. And it's called an economy because it drives so much value. Yeah. Somebody making videos and making people laugh, there's a videographer behind that, there's an art director, there's a creative director, there's a stylist, there's a PA. There's
a whole ecosystem.
Exactly. And, the Stardust Creator Network is here to serve both sides and make everything easy for all stakeholders.
10 years, my good friend. 10 years you've built credibility. What would the next 10 years be, my friend?
The next 10 years is going to be about expansion. We already have a presence in the UK, but we also want to expand into the US, which is obviously, the biggest market in the world. They're very, experimentative with ideas. There's a lot of finance, there's a lot of capital. We're most likely going to be trying to acquire a company. It's taken us so long to build in Nigeria. Now we've learned that, we can do M&As, we can acquire a data company,
You sounded more like a Wall Street guy.
Well, it's creativity,
smell the money.
Creativity, technology, business.
They are good jolly fellows.
Yeah, it's about being a hybrid.
Exactly.
So right now we're going to be at the intersection of marketing, technology, and media. We want to be like you guys. It's important to be able to propagate information. It's important to be able to influence, what people think. We want to own assets. We want to own platforms. And 10 years, but we're just really starting. We're on a journey to being a $100 million company in 5 years. And our 10-year goal is also to be a unicorn. So we hope that Africans would, support us because we'll make you proud.
I'll see you on Wall Street.
I'll see you too.
We'll look forward to see you on Wall Street.
10
years on, tell me, what was that one message that you have for entrepreneurs, leaders, and policymakers, all you need on the table to grow this industry faster, especially for Nigeria and for Africa?
Yeah, my message is, strategies are important, vision is important, but intensity is really what gets you where you need to be. Resilience, discipline, accountability, collaboration, innovation most especially, because things will always change. Your strategy, your vision, is there, but when things change, do you have the adaptability and the resilience to change course, innovate, and give people what they really want? It's not really about you, it's about the consumers, and it's about value. So always think about that and always try and just stick with things to the end, and that's the Intense philosophy. And if we can't do it, anyone can.